Hello and welcome to another What Sold on eBay video. We're going to go over some of the items sold in our eBay shop. There's going to be lots of bolos ahead, and we will definitely have a special Worth Point deep dive for something that is worth thousands of dollars. So you definitely want to stay tuned till the very end. If you're new to the channel, definitely go down there, click the subscribe button. If you're returning or you enjoy this content, please click the like button and say hello in the comments. It helps feed the hungry YouTube algorithm. Let's get into it. Today we have a really good sale here. This is some international sterling silver flatware. We actually took a best offer for $600 on this, and it is sterling silver. Though I think the butter knives the tops were replaced because those are not, those are sterling. Or actually the blades themselves were probably replaced at some point. Now, if you don't know about silver, if you flip it over and it says sterling anywhere underneath it, it's something definitely worth picking up. There's no marks that, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some fakes out there, but I've never come across them in the 30 years I've been doing this. If it says sterling anywhere on any piece of metal, it's something definitely to look into and to definitely pick up if it's not magnetic. Um, these were amazing pieces here, and this sold. We did take a best offer for about 600 on this, and it came with the case. Now, to be honest, like the people that buy this kind of stuff, they don't really care about the case too much. So if you want to save on shipping, unless the case is in mint condition or goes with the set very well, the cases really don't bring an extra great amount of money. You can actually part that out, by just selling the case itself. It's a lot easier to ship that way too, by the way. These cases usually are pretty heavy, and so there's that. This is a really good sale, and we're going to have a special Worth Point thing at the very end regarding silverware. So if you're in the Boston East Coast area, you definitely want to wait to the very end of this video. Next up, we have this Robert Rakes Bonnie Girl. This sold for $18.74, which is a shame because Robert Rakes bears back in the day used to go for over $100, if not more. This was like probably about 10 or 15 years ago. The market has dumped, and I'm pretty sure anyone that's been into a Goodwill in the last 5 years consistently has seen these kind of things. People just been dumping these over the years. What happens is, there was a lot of older people that collected this, and then when they pass on, they leave them to their kids or their grandkids, and then there's like, people are like, these are kind of weird, or like, I'm not into this, and they either sell them or donate them or anything like that. So that's why we've seen a huge drop in sales for these over the years. In the 80s and the 90s, these were really hot collectibles. Now they're pretty much generational collectibles that have really fallen off the map. So my best advice, if you ever come across these, just stay away from them unless they're like dirt cheap. And some of them are actually signed by Robert Rake. So if you just look for the signature, those are usually pretty hard to find. I've never come across in the wild any signed ones, but they're out there. So the signed ones actually were worth some decent money. So just look out for that. But any of these wooden type bear carving things, and these are amazing pieces, by the way. They're very well done. And when they came out, they were like retailed for over $100. But the market has just really gone down, and I don't really see the market picking up on these anytime soon. As a matter of fact, the son of Robert Rakes, I made a video about Robert Rakes, and I'll put a link above and below if I can remember. The son reached out to me and was very thankful about me making that video. So maybe one day I'll have an interview with him. I think that would actually be a very interesting thing. This is one of those, because I've been doing this for such a long time that I've seen so many markets just depreciate just because of generational collectibles. And what I mean by generational collectibles is people that are older collect a certain thing, and when that generation starts to pass on to the next world, the younger generation's not into that kind of stuff. So basically, there's this. It's basic comes down to supply and demand. Right now, there's an oversupply and there's a really low demand for these. So that's the only reason why I'm showing you this, is just to give you a little bit of insight on these if you ever come across them, because you will come across them if you're sourcing very frequently. Next up, we have the Chanel Ballet Flats. These sold for, we took a best offer for $100 on these, and Chanel's still selling, and these things are gross. Like, to be honest, like I didn't even want to sell these. I didn't even want to list these. but I saw a similar pair, like in worse condition, if you can believe it, sell for around the same price. And so I was just like, all right, I'll list them. Sure enough, these sold like literally 4 or 5 days later. Chanel, anything, people buy this stuff. I don't know. Look how gross this is inside. And people, I would never, if this was like, I don't know, any kind of thing, any kind of other shoe, I wouldn't sell it. This is just gross. But like I said, I was seeing people were buying this stuff, and I don't know. You know what? I don't. This baffles my mind. The only thing I can think of is it's a Chanel brand. Maybe someone's gonna restore this. Maybe there's a way to clean these up very well. I don't know. I don't care. We got the money for it. And like I said, I would never list something like this if it wasn't a Chanel brand. So that's it. Next up, we have these Harry Potter first editions. Now, these are first prints, and I made a video on this, and I highly, highly, highly suggest everyone go and watch the video. I'm going to put a link above. You've all seen these at Goodwills, these first editions. Now, they did multiple print runs. I think it even went up into the 70s. As you can see here, this is the information, the important information. Go watch the video. That's all I got to say. Whoever bought this got a great deal for $18.74 for these 3 books. They're all first prints. If you can put a first print set together, and I think there's 7 books, that's like a $300 set. So this is like basically almost halfway to that set. Number 1 and number 2 are going to be the hardest ones to find in the first print. Those were just the very first ones to come out. Basically 3 through 7 first prints are going to be not super hard to find, but you'll find those more than anything. The first 2 books, especially the first book, and I think the first book is Sorcerer's Stone. Those ones go for between like over $80 a piece. So just definitely look out for those and check out that video. You might have these. I find these all the time at Goodwills, but I've rarely find the first prints. So just it's one of those things. It's kind of one of those little nuggets of knowledge to have in the back of your head. The more of these you have, you can walk into any garage sale, any estate sale, any sale like a boss, and just have this like wealth of information. And you'll walk into any sale and be able to pull value out of anything when you get these little nuggets. This is one little tiny nugget that you're gonna get watching these videos. So if you do appreciate these videos, definitely go down there and click the like button. And if you're not subscribed, why aren't you subscribed? Go down there and subscribe. Next up, we have this Tiffany blue and gold. This is some sunglasses. These actually had a little bit of wear to them. They still sold for $122. Tiffany and Company glasses sell very well. This is a bolo. Of course, everyone knows Tiffany and Company for their jewelry. They do have some glassware. Glassware doesn't sell as fast and as well as anything else. Jewelry for Tiffany and Company sells very quick. Sterling silver, any of the higher end jewelry if you can find it. The sunglasses do very well. Out of all the sunglasses that we get, Tiffany and Chanel sell super fast. So just keep a lookout. If you're wondering about fakes or counterfeits or anything like that, when it comes to sunglasses, you can usually tell by feeling and touching and holding certain things that if it's high quality or not. Sunglasses that are like Chanel's or like Tiffany and Company or any high end brand, the quality will be very good. They're not going to be, because these things retail for like $2, $3, $4, $500. The detail to the quality is going to be very well. So just if it doesn't feel right, if you don't have the box and all that stuff, and it just doesn't feel right, it feels cheap. There's some glue everywhere. Things are out of alignment as far as the hardware, because there's like all kinds of hardware on these things. If this printing is like off, if something's off, you can usually tell if it's a fake. Now, there's plenty of fake sunglasses out there, so I'm going to warn you, everyone. Usually Oakleys and like Ray-Bans and like those kind of lower, kind of not lower end, but those kind of things are usually the ones that I see counterfeited all the time. But those other ones, are out there, so definitely look out for that. Next up, we have this. These are Fry Melissa large leather tote purse. We did take a best offer for $150. This was new with tags. Here, there is the logo, and so definitely a huge shout out to Eureka. This is a very nice sale, and handbags are still selling very well. Coach and all those kind of ones aren't selling like they used to. So, I remember like even 5 years ago when you got a Coach bag at a garage sale or whatever, it was still selling for over $100. Coach bags are like, that market's like, it's not dead, but that market is not the same. So don't get too excited if you see Coach purses. But if you find a brand new Coach purse and it's like $5, $10, definitely make sure it's authentic. That's another whole thing in itself. I'm not even gonna go down that road. It's a quality thing again. Like I said, just look out for that stuff. Next up, we have another buyer's choice caroler. These little dolls. We've talked about this before in the past. This is from 2001, and buyer's choice is a doll brand I never even heard of. So like, it was nice for Eureka to post these. I learned actually taking a deep dive into this company and doing my research so I have the little seeds of nugget knowledge in my head. And so if you ever see these, definitely pick them up, especially if the price is right. Some of them go for hundreds of dollars. In between $20 and $50 is a price point that I've seen a lot of these sell for. But there are some of them that push, $200 or $300 for like the larger ones and certain sets and things like that. So just keep an eye out for these. These are basically like also geographical things. I find like these things are probably more like an East Coast kind of thing that you'll look out there and all that. Speaking of East Coast, we're going to take our Worth Point deep dive that I promised in the very beginning of the video. We talked about silver. One of the silver spoons that you really need to look out for is Paul Revere. Yes, Paul Revere, the red coats are coming. That Paul Revere was a silversmith of all things. He actually did a lot of different things during the revolution and a lot of that stuff, but he was best known for his silverware. He was an excellent silversmith. Look out for the spoons. One of the ways you can see, I mean, he did also like sugar bowls and things, but look out for this Revere stamp on anything. And his spoons have usually spoons are flush right here, but his has it's like almost like tacked on. But the Revere stamp is what you really want to look out for. You might have a piece of silver in your collection that has this. You might not even realize this. So if you're on the East Coast, especially around the Boston area, and you have grandparents and stuff that have silverware, maybe you might want to ask them if they have something like this. And they might have a crazy collection or something that's very valuable. Some of these sets go for thousands of dollars. Some of the spoons alone go for thousands of dollars. Some of the bowls go for a crazy amount of money. And I think probably one of the most expensive bowls from Paul Revere sold for like $10 million at Sotheby's, which is, I'm surprised it's not on here. But this like 28,000, 83,000 for especially Paul Revere stamped ones definitely go for crazy money. And unfortunately, a lot of this stuff over the years was melted down, especially during the 80s when the price of silver was skyrocketing. People were known just to melt down all kinds of stuff, coins, just anything just to get that silver. And unfortunately, I'm sure every time the silver price goes up, that kind of stuff happens. So if you're on the East Coast, you have an older parent, an older grandparent, great grandparent, just make sure that, something like this, if they have it in their collection, that it's taken care of, that it's not just going to like be donated or whatever, or like, maybe if somehow someone finds out, just be careful with these things and just, basically make sure that you're in a safe place, especially if you can find these, especially on the East Coast. You can probably more than likely find these on the East Coast. Once again, I'm Chris with Thrift Shop Hustler. If you enjoyed this video, definitely go down there and click the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and we'll see you next time. Take care.